Hi everyone! Welcome back to Pop Kitchen by Parade. I'm Rose from Cheap Lazy Vegan, where I make easy and affordable vegan recipes, and today I'm back to show you guys a very easy plant-based meal prep. So it's the new year, you guys, and I know a lot of you might be maybe interested in going on a plant-based diet. Maybe some of you are just trying to eat a little bit healthier, or you're just looking for some meal prep ideas. Either way, I'm here to hopefully be a bit of help, okay? Because I know meal prepping can be a little bit, it can be a little bit stressful. Hopefully I can help you guys, save some money. I'm gonna give you some tips on affordability, and I'm also gonna talk a little bit about how not to waste food, okay? Let's get started. So when I usually meal prep, I like to make whatever takes the longest first, and that way while that thing is cooking, I can do other things, right? So that saves me time, it's a little bit more efficient. So that's what we're gonna do today. And at the end, I'm gonna show you guys different options for breakfast, lunch, and dinner so that you can switch things up and make things more interesting throughout the week so you're not bored with the food that you're eating, okay? So first thing we're gonna make is vegetable broth with our scraps. I saved the little veggie scraps because guess what? You can make veggie broth with your veggie scraps. So I have like scraps from cauliflower, we've got like kale stems and all kinds of goodness. So this way you don't waste your scraps. A few things I want to add to give it more flavor. I have half an onion here. We're gonna throw that in. You don't really have to chop it. And I have about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic that I just lightly crushed. And I'm just gonna add it in with the skin. And now we have all the scraps in this big pot. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fill it up with water and just like cover the scraps. There you go. Now I'm just gonna bring this to a boil and then just boil it on like medium heat for about 30 minutes or so. And while that's happening, you can do everything else. So let's bring this to a boil. So next I'm going to actually make some rice. Now I have a handy dandy rice cooker, but even if you don't have a rice cooker, you can make rice, okay? Rice is one of my staples. One thing I like to do though, because rice does take a little bit of time to cook, I like to cook it like in bulk, and I put some of it in the fridge and then I put some of it in the freezer. So whenever I'm ready to eat some rice, I can just easily take it out and heat it up throughout the week. When it comes to non-perishable basic items that you use all the time, buy in bulk, guys. It saves a lot of money and it saves you some trips to the grocery store. So I just use this like rice scooper thing, which is I think about 3/4 cup. I think I'm just gonna make about 4 scoops of this. So today I'm gonna make about 4 days worth of food, I think, although there might be a bit extra, but a lot of the food we're gonna be making today is freezable. So I'm just gonna rinse this and then cook this in the rice cooker, and then we can do other things. So the next thing I'm going to make is braised chickpeas. This is actually inspired by a Korean dish. It's like braised black beans, but we're gonna use chickpeas. You can do this with black beans as well. This is something my mom makes a lot actually. It's actually quite easy to make in bulk, and again, store in the fridge and just eat throughout the week in different meals and just add into whatever you want to add into. It's a great protein source, and you actually use dry chickpeas to make this. Great staple to have in your pantry. So I have here 2 cups of dry chickpeas that I've been soaking in water for about 2 hours. I would recommend soaking it for at least 1 to 2 hours, or overnight preferably, and that way it's gonna be a lot more of a quicker cooking process. And now I'm just gonna drain it and rinse it a little bit and then fill it up with plenty of water again. And I'm gonna bring this to a boil, and then we can add a few things in there a little bit later. So once the chickpeas come to a strong boil, what you wanna do is turn the heat down to like a medium or a medium low, and then you want to add in soy sauce and brown sugar. So make sure it's mixed well, and then you're just going to let that cook until all of that water is like absorbed and the chickpeas are completely cooked. It's going to be a bit of a long process, but it's not very labor intensive, so it's really easy. Next, we are going to make some vegetables. So I decided that I'm gonna roast a bunch of vegetables together. If you're one of those people that just allow your veggies to go bad in the fridge, just cook it. Like, do a little Sunday meal prep session, cook up your veggies, and that way you have plenty of veggies to eat. I always say, fail to prepare, prepare to fail, okay? So I have here some Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli, and carrots, and I've just chopped them up into kind of like nice big chunks here. And I'm just gonna throw it all into a mixing bowl. Now guys, my oven is broken, but I do have an air fryer. You can do this in the oven or the air fryer, okay? So we are going to be adding some oil. We don't need a lot, maybe 2 tablespoons of oil. And now I'm just gonna add some basic seasonings. I have garlic powder, my go-to for everything. Paprika, half a tablespoon or so. And of course, just some salt. I just kind of add Salt to taste. Just do this, you can add more later. So, but I always find that when I have the veggies prepped and ready, I eat veggies more, right? So that's why I like to prep it like in bulk if I can, and that way I can enjoy veggies throughout the week. So now I'm ready to put these babies in the air fryer. If you're gonna put it in the oven, I will do about 400 degrees Fahrenheit for around 20 minutes and maybe tossing it a little bit halfway through and just seeing if it's cooked through. I'm gonna do 375 degrees in the air fryer, and I'm gonna start with 10 minutes and then I'm gonna toss it, and I'll probably do another 5 to 10 minutes. All right guys, so now I'm gonna make some baked tofu / air fried tofu in my situation. All I'm gonna do is take a block of extra firm tofu. Extra firm just means it's extra firm. There's less water content. We're just gonna cut it into nice like bite-sized little chunks here. Now we can throw this into a mixing bowl. I'm gonna do a tablespoon of oil, about a tablespoon of garlic powder, a tablespoon of onion powder, and just some black pepper, maybe like a half teaspoon, and then just some salt. Again, I just kind of eyeball the salt. And then we're just gonna mix it. So one thing that I love about meal prepping is like when you have that food in your fridge, you're just so much more likely to eat it, and it saves so much money and time in the future. I know right now it seems like, oh, it's gonna take so much time to meal prep, but all you have to do is really dedicate an hour, maybe 2 hours to your meal prep session a week, and then you save so much more time later in the week. So highly recommend. Anyways, now we're gonna add in cornstarch. You can use potato starch if you'd like as well. We're gonna do 1 tablespoon of cornstarch. That's gonna make it like nice and crispy, okay? One key thing is to make sure your tofu pieces are not touching each other. Make sure they're just kind of separated. So we're gonna do 400 degrees in the oven for around 15 to 20 minutes, but tossing it halfway through. In the air fryer, I'm gonna do 375 degrees again. We're gonna start with 10 minutes, and then I'll just kind of see how it looks. I would say about 10 to 15 minutes in the air fryer. All right guys, so we're gonna make one of my favorite sauces ever, which is a tahini dressing. This is so delicious. You can put it on top of many different things, and so that's why I love it. And you can keep it in the fridge, it lasts a long time, and it's just really delicious. So tahini, if you don't know, is like a sesame paste. It is absolutely delicious. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of tahini, tablespoon of maple syrup or agave nectar, some apple cider vinegar. You could also use just lemon juice if you'd like. Just a tablespoon of that, a tablespoon of garlic powder. Can you tell? Whoa. And 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And I also like to add in about 2 tablespoons of water just to thin out the mixture. And then we can mix it. Nice and creamy and delicious. Just give it a little taste. Did I add soy sauce? I forgot to add soy sauce. 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. And then just mix this really, really well. If it does thicken up in the fridge, which it will over time, just add a little bit of water whenever you're ready to eat it, and it will become as good as new again. And there you go. There is this very delicious, creamy tahini dressing. Oh my God, it's so good. Now we're gonna make some scrambled tofu. Scrambled tofu is an absolutely fantastic vegan breakfast item. It's very versatile. You can eat it in many different ways, which I will show you. And it's very easy to make. So firstly, you can add whatever veggies you want. I like to add some like bell pepper. So I'm just gonna add that here. I have a little bit of oil on the wok here. I also have some diced zucchini. And then once the veggies have cooked up a little bit, you can add some tofu. I'm just gonna crumble it up with my fingers like this. Very simple. Just imagine like scrambled eggs, but like with tofu. That's basically what we're doing here. I always like to make sure I add in some really good plant-based protein sources into my meals. And that way it keeps me satisfied, satiated. Tofu is one of my favorites. There's also beans, tempeh, lentils, and all kinds of different things. So lots of plant-based protein options for you, but I would highly recommend adding a plant-based protein source into every single meal so you are more satisfied and filled up, okay? You can let it cook for a little bit and just let the tofu kind of become a little bit golden. That's my preference. So there we go. Let's just kind of let it cook for a bit, and then we can add our spices. So now I've cooked up the tofu for a couple of minutes or so, not too long. It's starting to become nice and golden a little bit. So for spices, we're gonna add in 3 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. I'm gonna add 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, half a tablespoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of paprika, half a teaspoon of turmeric. That's gonna give it a really nice yellow color, 1 teaspoon of onion powder. And then I like to add salt and pepper to taste, so you can adjust it according to your liking. And at the end here, I wanna add in just a little handful of kale. So we're gonna use kale for another recipe that I'm gonna show you in just a second, but might as well add some of that kale into our scrambled tofu as well. So that's one thing I like to do when I meal prep. I like to add in different veggies to different meals. So I chop veggies all at the same time and then just pick and choose whatever I wanna add into whatever I want to add. And at the end, if you want, this part is optional, but I like to add in some kala namak, which is also known as black salt, and that's gonna give it a really nice kind of eggy flavor to your scrambled tofu, really making it like a scrambled egg replacement. So totally optional, but you can if you want to. All right, guys, so one thing I also like to make a 1-pot like recipe, minestrone soup. Woohoo! I love this because you can pack in so many vegetables and it's really easy. So we're gonna get started. We're gonna add in just a small amount of oil into a Dutch oven or a big pot like this. And then I'm gonna add in some onion. So I added about half an onion here, add in some minced garlic. I'm gonna do about 3 cloves of garlic. We got about 3 stalks of celery that I've diced up and 2 to 3 medium-sized carrots. Again, this is like a recipe where you can add in whatever veggies you want. I'm gonna add in some bell pepper here. I have 1 bell pepper. I have everything diced as well. And then remember that zucchini we used? Half a zucchini here because we used the other half for the scrambled tofu. I know. And we're also going to add in a large can of diced tomatoes and that vegetable broth that we made earlier. So with the vegetable broth, all I did was I just drained the veggies and saved the broth. This is about 4 cups of veggie broth. We're gonna add that in. That should give it some more depth and flavor. And then for our seasonings, we're gonna add Italian seasoning, a tablespoon or so, some garlic powder, again, maybe about a tablespoon of garlic powder, some onion powder, again, about a tablespoon, and some pepper, about half a teaspoon or more if you'd like. And I'm also gonna add in a veggie bouillon cube. I know we're already using veggie broth, but I didn't add any like salt or anything in there. So I feel like it would be tasty if we added 1 vegetable bouillon cube. I'm also going to add in 2 cups of water. Again, you can add in vegetable broth. I just didn't have enough, so I'm just adding in 2 cups of water. So we have 6 cups of liquid altogether. And now I'm gonna bring this to a boil. And when it comes to a boil, I'm gonna add some dry pasta, just a cup of dry pasta. So once the pasta has cooked up for about 10-15 minutes or so, now I'm gonna add in a can of kidney beans. I always like to have cans of beans just laying around in my kitchen. It's one of my favorite sources of plant-based protein. Remember that kale that we added into our scrambled tofu? We're gonna add in the rest of that kale into our soup as well. I like to add it at the end so that because it doesn't really take too long to cook. And then at the very end, I like to add in a little tablespoon of lemon juice, which is gonna really bring out the flavors of our soup and make it even more tasty. And of course, feel free to add in any salt and pepper as much as you'd like. Now I can put stuff together. All right, you guys, so look at all these meals. Oh my gosh, and there's plenty more where these came from. I'm so excited because I have so many healthy meals for the next few days. And a lot of the meals I'm not gonna eat, I can easily freeze some of them. So I will talk you through what I made here. So I have 4 different breakfast options. So first we have, of course, that scrambled tofu with the side of that minestrone soup. I feel like this would be so nice and comforting in the morning. We also have the scrambled tofu in a breakfast burrito, one of my favorites, okay? You can eat this with a side of salsa as well, which would add some more deliciousness or some hot sauce or just on its own. It's flavorful enough so that you can eat it on its own and enjoy it. And then we have, of course, a classic scrambled tofu with the side of toast. Feel free to add whatever you want on the toast. I like a little bit of hummus usually. We can add some vegan butter or just eat it on its own with that scrambled tofu. And then we have, of course, a very simple scrambled tofu with a side of those roasted vegetables. And feel free to mix and match whatever you'd like. I think this would be a really nice and healthy breakfast full of lots of veggies. Those are the breakfast options. And then we have lots of different main meal options. Again, feel free to mix and match everything. So here we have some rice with those braised chickpeas, so delicious. And then of course, a side of the roasted veggies. The braised chickpeas are very flavorful, so that's why I just kind of left it really simple, but you can feel free to add in any sauce. If you want to add some of that tahini sauce, you can do that as well. And then of course a simple, soup. Again, keep it simple. And then again, you can add in whatever else with your soup. I always like to have like probably a side of toast with some hummus, delicious. Big bowl of soup, never hurts anybody. And then we have a bowl of rice, our crispy tofu, our roasted veggies, topped with that really delicious tahini dressing. Oh my God, this is gonna be so delicious. It is bomb. And then we have something quite similar. So we have rice, we have braised chickpeas, we've got that crispy tofu. I topped it with some barbecue sauce, which is another idea. If you get sick of the tahini dressing, feel free to swap it for a different sauce. Barbecue sauce, very simple. You can just buy the store-bought kind. You can also buy some like teriyaki sauce. So good. And then again, we have that side of roasted veggies. Tons of protein in this one. Love me a really high protein meal. And then we have a meal of buffalo tofu. So we took that crispy tofu, I tossed it in a little bit of Frank's Red Hot sauce, tossed it in a little bit of buffalo sauce, vegan buffalo sauce, and now you have buffalo tofu. So simple. And then I have a big side of that minestrone soup. And those are the meals. And of course, again, you can mix and match however way you'd like. Another thing that I want to mention is that pretty much everything I used is relatively affordable. I'm using very affordable ingredients. My channel name is Cheap Lazy Vegan, so I'm a big fan of affordability. I think total I spent about 30 Canadian dollars, which is really not a lot of money for the amount of food I made, and I still have so many more ingredients left over from that haul. So my recommendation is, instead of buying too much of the, processed like vegan products, you can focus more on the naturally vegan products that are out there, naturally vegan ingredients, whole foods, plant-based. That saves you a lot of money. If any of you wanted to do a little more meal prep, eat a little healthier for the new year, hopefully this has been helpful. If you are someone that's looking to eat more plant-based, I really hope this helped you and you stick to your plant-based goals. Make sure you subscribe to Parade for more videos like this. Give this video a big thumbs up. And of course, follow my channel at Cheap Lazy Vegan for more easy vegan recipes. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!